Hello.
Yes.
I'm Lucas.
I'm Emily.
And we are here with Miss Wendy Ernst from Drumlin Farm.
Right, good.
So she's going to show us some animals today from Drumlin Farm.
Yes.
And we won't reveal what they are quite yet. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about what you do for Drumlin Farm?
Sure. I am a teacher naturalist at Drumlin Farm. That means that I work with animals at Drumlin Farm and also teach classes for kids.
Awesome.
And share the natural beauty of Drumlin Farm with the public.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I remember going to Drumlin Farm as a little kid.
I used to go there all the time. Oh my god.
All right, so there's nobody here.
Yeah. So we would like to invite any children or people who would love to watch our animal demonstration to come up to the studio. And we have chairs here if you would like to sit and watch. We only ask that because we have some animal friends that, they might be a little shy sometimes. We want to keep our voices low, and we want to keep our bodies still, and we want to just let the animals be as calm, and we want to invite them into our area and just let them have a nice chill time.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
So I brought 3 animals with me today.
Yes.
And the animals that we have at Drumlin Farm that go on programs like this are, for the most part, wild animals. And they're at Drumlin Farm because they either have an injury or perhaps they have been imprinted, so they're too comfortable around people to be released into the wild. Sometimes they're orphaned or abandoned, and they need people to take care of them. And so I'll be showing you a barred owl, a skunk, and a corn snake.
Oh my god.
That is so cool.
I'm so
so
excited.
excited.
I'm so excited. Yes.
So I'm going to start with the barred owl.
Okay.
And the barred owl came to Drumlin Farm from a zoo in Michigan, and she has a wing injury. And so it makes it impossible for her to fly properly. So we need to take care of her. And she was born about 14 years ago.
Wow.
Right.
She's 14 years old.
Right. And they can live up to 20 years in captivity, probably not as long in the wild.
That's awesome. But that's not okay. I phrased that incorrectly. I meant to say it's awesome that because she's in captivity, that she will be able to have a longer
Lifespan.
Yes.
Yes, because you're taking care of them and they're getting good medical care and they don't have to face any predators.
Yes.
That's really cool.
They're staying safe. So shall I get her out, or will the kids be coming in imminently?
Well, I mean, we do have. The kids are en route.
So should we
Okay. We'll take a quick little break so that we can tell you if you are living or around the downtown area, you can go outside downtown and start seeing some of our costume characters downtown, and a decent amount of them will have donation cans. And please, 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 any spare change, spare bills, just plop them in those donation cans, and we'll make your day happy with our little costume characters, and you'll make other people's day happy down the road by donating.
Supporting the Beacon Santa Telethon.
Yes.
Hey.
Excellent.
All right.
Yeah.
So maybe I should start with the corn snake instead.
Yeah.
All right.
And that way,
Yes.
when the children come in, they can look at the corn snake. And the corn snake is not as excitable as the owl is.
Okay, yeah.
All right,
That
so
sounds
let
good.
me get out my corn snake.
All right. I'm very excited.
Now, this corn snake is only 2 years old, and it has been bred in captivity. So it was sold as a pet to somebody. Corn snakes are not native to Massachusetts. I have a little poster here. They're native from New Jersey down south to Florida and over to about the Mississippi. So this corn snake was donated to Drumlin Farm by somebody who had it as a pet.
Oh, interesting.
And they can live quite a long life. We have a corn snake at Drumlin Farm that was born in 1985.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yes, which
older
is
than-
very old for a corn snake.
Yeah, that is older than you, Lucas.
This one is not as old, just a growing corn snake. So I can bring it around to the front there.
That scared me. I'm like, animal. Oh my
These
god,
kids.
I'm already in love.
Oh. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. So is there anything? Is there anything that we should do, like that we should avoid doing to like make sure the snake stays like as calm as possible? Like, should we not like?
No,
up
the
in its
snake
face
the
and
snake
stuff?
is pretty relaxed.
Okay.
And the one thing you can do always around wild animals is keep your distance and not make any sudden moves toward them or try to touch them. So you might notice that he doesn't have any black or brown colorings on him. He's got oranges and reds. And that's because he is an albino corn snake.
Oh, wow.
So do you notice
Interesting.
the color of his eyes?
Oh, they're red.
They're red?
Yeah.
Okay. So an albino corn snake doesn't have to be just white.
Correct. So
Ah.
it has no black coloring. in its
Interesting.
Black pigments in its skin.
That's. Hello. Hi.
Lucas, what was like her first thing? She said, "Don't get like super close to it."
Oh.
So do you notice the tongue
Yeah.
coming out a lot?
Ooh,
Do you know
yes.
what snakes are doing with their tongues?
What do they do with their tongues? They
Are they smelling?
Yes.
Smell?
Yeah.
They're smelling. So it's a secondary organ for smelling because they can also smell through their noses. But
Yeah.
they do have a special organ inside their mouths called the Jacobson's organ, which helps them to interpret scent particles that they stick their tongues out.
Oh wow.
They get on their tongues and they bring it into their mouth and can interpret it. So it helps them interpret their environment.
I love him. Look at him just going around, just zooming around.
Just swooping around.
You might notice that he's using me as a tree, wrapping around me as a
because-
tree,
He's used to.
because he is a constrictor.
Oh.
And so they're not venomous, but they do grab their prey, say a mouse, by the head, and then they will wrap themselves around it very quickly and squeeze the mouse.
So that's like the definition of a constrictor.
That it squeezes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Exactly. They're not venomous. They do have small teeth to help hold their prey. But corn snakes make really good pets because they are so docile. They're not aggressive snakes at all. See how he's wrapping his tail
Yeah.
around? And then they will swallow their prey in one big bite, and it travels all the way down their body. And they don't get fed very often. We offer them a mouse once a week, and they may or may not eat because their metabolism is slow, and they're cold-blooded or ectothermic, so they do not use a lot of food or need a lot of food. And they are hatched out of eggs, so they will lay their eggs in the spring, and then the eggs will be in a nice warm spot, warmed by the sun, and they will hatch out a couple months later.
So, is he fully grown right now?
No,
No.
so
not
he's still
fully
growing. Snakes never really stop growing.
Interesting.
Oh, wow.
They continue to grow, but more slowly. And over here on the table, I have a shed, if you want to reach in and
Oh, that's super cool.
get the shed out of
here, I'll
the,
hold this
the
right.
bag. You can touch that.
I was just about to ask, like, how often do they shed their skin?
It depends on how fast they're growing. So every couple
Yeah.
months or so. It should be in one big piece. Open it up and see if it unfolds.
I don't want to break it.
What does it feel like?
It's like bubble wrap.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Hold it up so that they can
Feels
see.
like bubble wrap.
Isn't that cool? Now the
my
end
God,
that's
that's
in your
really
left
bubble
hand is the head.
Ah, it has little eyes.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So you notice that even the scale over their eyes sheds.
No, I was just in case you want to talk.
And that's
this
called
is-
spectacles over their
Oh
eyes.
my God, that's
Spectacles.
adorable.
And so it helps keep their eyes in good condition.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Don't they have like something? Don't snakes have something different with like their eyelids?
Their
or
eyelids
something?
are basically clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they can see through their eyelids. They don't have closing eyelids like we do. But then it protects their eyes.
Yeah.
Should I put this back?
Yeah. And then in the other bag, there's a shed from, you can just leave it on the table. There's a shed from a different snake that we have at Drumlin Farm, who's much older. Wait until you see this one.
Oh. Oh my God.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so big.
So that one is probably about 5 feet.
Oh my god, dude, 5 feet. That's like tall. That's taller than like a couple of my friends. Wow.
Isn't that impressive?
Oh my god.
And they can pull off their skins starting at the head. It starts shedding at the head, and they pull back by rubbing against things. So it comes off inside out. And you can see that the scales on their stomach are different than the scales on their back.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask.
Isn't that cool? They're born with all the scales they'll ever have, but they just grow.
Oh, that's really cool.
And that's how they grow.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? And then next to it here is what the snake looks like inside.
Oh my
Inside.
god. Ooh.
So inside there's a whole bunch of little ribs and a big long backbone.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Here you go.
So these are all ribs.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
So imagine how flexible they are.
Yeah. So where are all the snake's organs?
They're inside. They're protected by the ribs,
Mm-hmm.
just like our ribs.
So like,
protect.
is it like randomly dispersed throughout? Or are they
Yes,
all
and
in one
it's
place?
linear.
Oh, okay.
And so the heart, then the lungs, and kidneys
Oh wow.
Interesting.
inside. And the organs move to the side when the snake swallows some kind of prey,
Oh my yeah.
because it has to work its
Yeah.
way all the way down.
That's really cool.
Isn't that neat?
So,
they're- Go ahead.
oh, I had a question. So it's about this length right now. How old? How old? How big are they when they hatch from?
From
egg?
eggs?
From egg.
They're
yeah.
pretty tiny, and they have a little egg tooth that helps them get out of the egg.
Oh cute.
And the sex of the snake, whether it's male or female, is determined by the temperature at which the eggs are hatched.
Oh,
Interesting.
So warmer is male, cooler is female.
Huh.
Isn't that cool?
Never
So
knew that.
Yeah, that's really
corn
cool.
snakes are called corn snakes, not because they eat corn, but because they hang around in the cornfields and corn cribs where they can find mice and rats.
Yes.
Ah, okay.
So they're sometimes called red rat snakes, because if this
Red rat
one
snakes.
were not albino, as you can see over here, he would have black scales too, and some black scales
yeah.
underneath. And his scales underneath would look like Indian corn.
Oh. Wow,
Right.
that's cool.
So this is what Indian corn
I
looks
mean,
like.
he does look a lot like corn.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And his
Wow.
scales underneath would look like that.
Uh-huh.
Why is it bad that when she was like, they hang out in the cornfield where they can find, my first thing I was like, corn. And she's like, mice. I'm like, oh, no. She said they don't eat corn, so that doesn't make sense.
All right, so are the kids here now who
Yeah.
will be
I
coming?
mean, we have a lot of staff members here, but
Yay!
it's cool. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
But this is definitely, I mean, we're all having fun. Viewers at home are having fun. So I think we're good.
Excellent. So I'll put my little friend away here
Yes.
because I can get out the owl. Let me get out the owl
Yes.
next. All right, this owl, as we started to talk about before, is 14 years old, came from a zoo in Michigan,
Oh, wow.
and she has a wing injury, an old wing injury that didn't heal
Oh, that's right.
properly. Right. So one of the things about owls is that owls are nocturnal.
Oh.
And so, so owls are very common in Massachusetts. Let me show you a little picture of owls. They're the barred owl that I brought with me, and it is barred, like stripes, bars, is found in the eastern part of the United States here. And there's an equivalent owl in the western part of the United States. Does anybody know what that equivalent is in the western part? It's an owl that people have worked very hard to save because it's endangered. Good guess. Stripes. This one has spots, so it's the spotted owl.
Oh, yes.
And they can actually interbreed. The barred owls and the spotted owls can
Oh.
interbreed. but the barred owls are more on the East Coast, spotted owls on the West Coast. And until people started planting lots of trees across the plains, the two never met. But now they're starting to see barred owls moving to the west, and sometimes they interbreed with the spotted owls and produce sparred owls
Oh my god.
or botted
I
owls.
get it.
That's so cute.
So this particular owl that I have is, she's easily frightened, and so I'm going to ask you all to just be very calm and quiet when she's out. She'll be sitting on a glove on my hand. And around her ankles are two little bracelets. Those are called jesses, and the jesses are connected to a leash, so she will not be able to fly around. If she does get scared for some reason, because this will be a strange place for her, she will flap around, but she's not going to fly away.
Okay.
Right.
Flies up in
Yes.
the sky.
That
We
would
do
not be good.
We have an open ceiling up here, so this probably wouldn't be.
Not be a good
Yeah.
place for.
Open.
Well, it's not open like to the roof, but there's nothing covering up like the pipes and stuff.
Yeah. I'm so excited.
No, it's okay. We just don't want to scare the owl. Sounds like my cats when they're fighting. We scared her.
So that was her little, I don't know where I am, I'm getting used
Yeah.
to things. Now she'll be fine.
I do that
She's
sometimes too. It's okay.
beautiful. I love the way owls
She's
look.
gorgeous. I love her.
Do you see the stripes on her chest, on the
Mhm.
feathers on her chest? She
Yeah.
has two kinds of stripes. So right under her chin, she has horizontal stripes. And then on her breast, she has vertical stripes.
Oh.
And those are the bars.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
I
why
get
they're
it.
called a barred
Yeah,
owl.
yeah.
Yeah,
Barred
bars
owl,
like on a
okay.
cage. Bars on a
Interesting.
cage. Exactly. And she's very light. She only weighs a couple pounds. Most of her is feathers.
Oh wow.
Interesting. Wait, I think I saw something online of like a owl that was like it didn't have feathers, and it looked very strange.
It does. They look kind of like
Because-
an ostrich.
Because you're used to them looking like very fluffy.
Yes.
With all the
And, like,
feathers.
compact and stuff, just like down.
Yes. So much of what you see on an owl is just the feathers. Sometimes
so
on a bird, the feathers can weigh even more than the skeleton.
Oh
of-
wow.
of
Because
the
don't
bird.
birds have like hollow bones or something?
Partially hollow bones.
Partially, yeah.
So they're not as strong as our bones are, which is
Mhm.
why they get wing injuries. But they're also much lighter because a bird has to be light in order to fly.
Yeah.
So do you notice what color her eyes are?
Are
I
they
mean, just black.
are they black?
Yes. Which is different from most owls in
Oh.
Massachusetts. A lot of the
Interesting.
other owls that are very common, like screech owls and great horned owls here, have yellowish, greenish eyes.
Wow.
But the barred owls have brown eyes.
All right.
Is there
Hello.
any specific reason that she has like the black eyes?
Or
Or
it's
is it
just
just-
part of her species.
Yeah.
It's just
okay.
the way they are. So you notice she immediately follows the sounds
Mhm.
that are coming in. So
Yeah.
owls have remarkable hearing, and for her ears are not symmetrical.
Oh.
So the right ear is up higher and farther forward than the left ear is,
Mhm.
and that enables an owl to triangulate sound, so they can hear up, down, far, near, right or left.
Oh wow.
And they get a map then of that little mouse that's running through the forest and
Mhm.
making little noises, and they can catch it in total darkness, which is pretty amazing.
That is really
love
cool. she just is so chill right now. Is she
Yeah.
like freaking out though? Like I can't tell.
She's not freaking out, but she does not necessarily want to be here. For one thing, it's her nighttime,
Oh,
Oh,
that's
that's right.
right.
and so she's a little sleepy.
That's gonna be us tonight during host versus tech crew. It's like 1 a.m. We're all tired. We're like, it's our
Yes,
it's
you
our
have to
nighttime.
stay up all night too.
It's our nighttime.
Another amazing thing about owls is their vision.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have really large eyes. So the proportion of their eye into the skull is much larger than in our own heads. So if our eyes were as large as the owl's eyes are in their skull, in our skull, they'd be the size of a fist.
Oh my god.
No way.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that's the way. Hold up your fists.
I love how you said that, and then everyone was just like,
So, can its head like turn around? Is that like is that a real
That's
thing?
that's the thing. And so owls can turn their heads 270 degrees.
Ah.
Oh, okay. So it's not like a full 360.
It's not a
No.
full 360.
that's
no.
still very cool.
But
'cause
it's still
I can't do that. So
right. So if we were owls, we would be able to turn our heads from one side to straight ahead to the other side, and then we'd be able to touch our noses to our back.
oh wow.
So she can reach her beak around and touch her backbone, which they need to be able to do because there's a little place on their back that produces oil, a little gland that produces oil, and they get that oil on their beaks and then they spread it on their feathers. Notice how she's watching the movement? Is that a mouse? A big mouse? It's also important that they be able to have that range of motion because they cannot move their eyes.
Oh.
So
They can't look like basically.
They can't glance around.
no, here, you can hold this. There's a barred owl's skull,
Ooh. Yeah.
and the skull is if you can get a view of the skull.
Yeah.
The skull has eye sockets that are like little bony tubes,
Yeah.
and the eyes are fixed in those tubes. There's no muscles around their eyes.
Oh wow.
So they can't roll their eyes or shift their eyes like we can. So instead, they have to turn their heads in order to see what's.
So this is the skull of. A
This
barred
would be a
owl.
barred owl skull.
Wow.
That's not what.
Yeah,
their
that
head
and
looks
that
like.
just shows you how
No.
much like her head is just feathers.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
So look how long the beak looks
I know. And
in the
like,
skull. And if you look at her face, you wonder where the beak is actually.
Yeah.
On her skull, when it's covered with feathers, if you can get a close-up of her eyes and the feathers around her beak, the feathers around her beak actually look like whiskers.
I was gonna.
Oh, I was. Yeah.
I was gonna ask like, are those whiskers? But then I'm like, that's kind of a stupid question because they're obviously
No,
not
that's
whiskers.
not stupid at all because they serve the same function as whiskers would on another animal. She can't see directly in front of her beak,
Oh.
so they help her
yeah.
locate her prey.
Oh, that's so cool.
Isn't that cool? You might also notice that her face is rather flat, and that is a trademark of owls, and it allows all the available sound and light to come into their eyes and their ears,
Wow.
make them excellent hunters. Now, the other thing that makes her a bird of prey, besides her beak and her eyes, are her feet.
Feet.
Yes,
Yeah.
her feet. So her
Okay.
feet are called talons.
Oh. Okay. So.
So
you
here's
catch- no. Is that
you're
a
a
foot?
it's a foot, and this is from an animal that got
alright?
hit by a car and killed.
Oh no.
Okay. Here, touch the.
So the nails are really sharp and they're very
My
strong.
husband, I don't cut them.
And you'll notice her
there's
legs are
4.
covered in feathers.
Wow.
Wow.
Not all birds have feathered legs.
Uh-huh.
Now look at the arrangement of the toes. So there's 4 toes.
So they're kind of like spread out like
Right.
it's
How
not-
many are in front and how many in back?
I can't tell.
So well, there's 2 in the front,
Right.
or in front, and then 2 in the back,
Right.
and then there's 2 that are longer, like significantly longer than the other ones.
Yeah.
So if you've ever seen a bird perching on a branch, there'll be 3 toes in front and 1 toe in back.
Oh.
So when the owl is perching, it'll have 2 toes in front, 2 in back. And then when it starts to hunt, the outer toe in the back rotates forward. And it opens up like a cage. And so it enables them to actually, they bring their legs forward, open that claw up, and can catch that mouse. And there's a really cool word associated with that. It's called zygodactyl.
Oh my god.
Zygodactyl.
Zygodactyl, yeah. So it's that ability to rotate that toe forward. You could just put it on the table. There. Excellent. So does anybody have any questions about the owl?
So would this owl be considered like somewhat tame? The fact that it's here?
It's human habituated. And so it's used to people, and it allows us to get close to it. Yeah, but we try to keep our animals as wild as possible at Drumlin Farm, so they don't do tricks, or we don't name them like that. Her wingspan is about 3 to 4 feet,
Whoa.
and they hunt from perches, and they would prefer a cavity to nest in or a hole in a tree to nest in. Again, they're very common in New England, and so many people have seen them, along with the screech owls and the great horned owls. They're the most common owls you might see around here in Maynard.
So this is kind of an off-topic question, but like when you said the thing about the nest, how many like eggs do owls will they lay at like one
Yeah,
time?
about 2 to 4.
Mm-hmm.
And some owls start nesting very early in the season. So great horned owls are the first ones, and they begin nesting around January.
Oh wow.
January or February, and there's often snow still
Mm-hmm.
at that time. And the barred owls will begin nesting around February, March, April.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to put her back.
Bye.
Bye.
I love her.
Bye, Bard Owl.
Aw. It's okay. We're gonna miss you too. She's like, oh, I'm so happy to be back in here.
Yeah. Owls don't mind being in the carrier because it's like their nest.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
okay.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Do the snakes mind?
No, because snakes like to be under things.
Oh,
There you go.
Very true.
All right. So before we move on to the skunk, I want to play for you what the barred owl. Here's another cool picture of barred owls.
Wow.
Wow.
And this shows you their ability to camouflage.
Oh my God.
That
Yeah.
is so cool. Because, like, it blends in.
Yeah, and look, her face feathers are kind of like they're not green, but they're kind of.
I think that's the way it
yeah.
printed
Oh, okay.
on the copier.
I was like, wow.
But the patterns and the colors
Yeah.
of their feathers blend in very well
Yeah,
with
she
the
looks
tree
like
bark.
the wood. Yeah.
That's really cool. So she's blended in.
She's doing great.
And if you were asleep all day long when it's bright and sunny and people are hunting you, you'd want to be camouflaged too.
Oh, that's
Exactly.
right, because she's not even awake, so she has to.
Yeah.
And then she can. Well, wait, hang on. I was gonna say she could camouflage to hunt too. Can she? Is that
Well,
a
it's
thing?
dark.
Well, it's dark.
It's
So
dark.
People
so.
can't see her. Oh,
Yeah.
Animals can't see her. Right? People.
Unless
her
you're
either.
another owl.
Ooh, true.
And owls will hunt owls.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
So this is what the barred owl sounds like, and you may hear this in your own neighborhoods.
Wow.
So what does that
I
remind
don't
you
know
of?
if you at home could hear it, but it kind of sounded like a dog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of sounds like a dog. And the mnemonic that people use to remember the sound, because different species of owls make different sounds, so you can tell what owl's in your backyard by what call they're making.
Huh.
And so the mnemonic to remember this is who cooks for you. So it's who cooks for you? Who cooks for you?
Oh, cute.
all? Who cooks for you?
Oh my God,
Who
you're right.
cooks for you? all?
Oh, that's so cool.
So if you hear that, you know you have a barred owl in your neighborhood.
What's the bird that goes? Ooh,
Oh, mourning dove.
There's
That is not an owl, by the way.
There's one that lives like near my house, and I don't remember. It sounds like something, but whenever I hear it, I just go cheeseburger, 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 cheese.
Cheese-
And I'm like, oh hi, what's up?
So I'm going to need to set up a little fence here because the skunk would love to just run around and investigate everything in your studio. And that would not be acceptable.
So skunks have a reputation of being smelly.
They
Yes,
do.
they do.
They do.
But as far as I believe, they only spray their skunk spray when they're like scared.
When they're scared. That's correct. That's correct. And this skunk we acquired from a commercial skunk breeder in Florida, where it is legal to have skunks as pets.
Oh.
It is not legal to have skunks as pets in Massachusetts.
I feel like I've heard from like my years of going to these little demonstrations when I was like a child. Is it a thing that you can like a skunk can have its like ability to like spray like removed?
So that's
Like, is that-
exactly
that's a
what
thing?
happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
So they removed her scent glands. It is a girl. They removed her scent glands when she was young, and therefore she has no ability to spray.
Oh. So that's why people would choose to have them as pets.
And that's
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
they can have them, yes.
interesting.
Though I have to tell you that she still smells skunky. She is a skunk.
Skunk.
After 40 hours of being here, we're gonna smell skunky too, so it's fine.
So this is her habitat. Forest,
I love it.
leaves, trees, that kind of thing.
Bark.
Bark.
I'm glad she said habitat because I was like, look at her little playpen.
Think back to second grade. What do all animals need? Food,
Water.
water, shelter.
Yes.
So here's her water.
How cute.
And here's her food.
I'm so excited.
So what do you see?
A cucumber.
Live,
oh wait!
li-
Oh wait!
There are live little wormies in here, but we do have cucumber, some really big blueberries.
I was
an
like, wow!
apple
Look at all these
piece.
vegetables, so healthy, and I see this little thing moving. What are those? What is that? Is that like a?
That's a mealworm.
I was
mealworm?
gonna say that,
Yep.
but didn't want to be wrong.
So skunks are opportunistic eaters, and they're omnivores. So they eat meat and fruit and vegetables.
Wow.
And the dog food in here, the cat food, contains meat.
Oh, okay.
So, but so do the mealworms. So I'm going to put some around. And I'm actually going to hide some of it.
Ooh.
Let's put a few in here. Here's some green beans.
Yes.
I love green beans.
Put a cucumber
They're
up
for the
there.
skunk, not you for you.
There's a
So
sweet potato. This looks like pear
I feel so bad, like that poor little owl didn't want to be here, but then the skunk
and
were like
apple.
giving her a house and giving her some snacks and stuff.
There's a blueberry.
Those are huge blueberries.
Yes, they are, aren't they? There's even some eggshell in here.
Ooh.
So, are the vegetables grown at the farm?
We do grow vegetables at the farm, but
Not-
these are not
these specific.
grown, especially at this time of year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
that
duh.
does make sense. It's the winter.
Okay, here she comes.
Dude, look at little worms moving around.
What's in there?
That was the snake.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait.
Oh, I'm so
She's
excited.
So excited.
And I do have to wear, I do have to wear gloves
Mhm.
with her because she is a mammal and she has teeth. I'm gonna move this a little bit farther
So
forward.
what is the purpose of the